yeah, I like talking to people and yeah, create a new relationship. Jared.
Yeah, I feel like I'm the same way, Scott. An extrovert. So I like networking and meeting new people, talking to people, you know, just brightens my day, you know. And I like seeing people smile. It brightens my day. So yeah, I totally agree with you, Scott.
Thank you.
Totally agree.
I would agree with Jared. Like, I would rather like go out and find myself and meet new people and hang out with them than. I mean, I like hanging out with old friends, but you know, like meeting new people is just my thing. I like talking to people. People are fun. So I like Angel.
I agree with Emily, and it's called ambivert. I think that's how you say it, where you're a mix of both. So yeah, that's fine. Janelle.
I consider myself an extrovert because I moved from a new school last year, and so it was kind of, you know, for some people it's kind of hard to make new friends, but for me it's kind of, you know, I like being friends with everybody.
Who'd you point at?
For myself, I think of myself as an extrovert. I work with kids, so I can interact with like all ages. I tend to hang out with people who are usually older than me, so I kind of have that wide variety of going from talking with preschoolers to their parents to people older than my parents. My teachers would usually classify me as a social butterfly, so it doesn't really matter like who I'm sitting next to. I'm going to most likely talk to them, and I like to be able to make friends or make people feel welcome wherever it is that they are. So definitely an extrovert. Joseph?
I am very much an introvert. I really don't like talking to people or talking at all. I really just prefer just reading or listening to music, and I really hate it when I get interrupted when doing neither.
I used to be an introvert, but I'm slowly becoming an ambivert because now I teach kids at church, and I can handle going to stores and other places. I'm still working on going to parties and going far away places and talking to a bunch of people I don't know.
I have to agree with Hannah because I work at Domino's and I'm constantly interacting with other people. So like I'm very extrovert and I always have a smile on my face and I like to make other people smile. So, Ricky.
I think I'm kind of like in the middle of both. I think it's like ambivert or something. So I like meet new people and I enjoy it, but also like going to like a party, not necessarily like a bad party, but like that freaks me out like a lot. And I think like a lot of it has to do with like how you're like filled up, like how you get filled up. Do you get filled up more by hanging out with people or just by like being by yourself? And I think I can do both, and so that's what kind of like helps me. And so yeah.
Okay, so I used to be really introverted, but then I started working at Safeway and I have to talk to people a lot, so I'm kind of like getting used to talking to more people, and it kind of sucks because a lot of people are rude, but it's okay because I'm getting used to having conversations. Sam.
Hi, I'm Sam.
Hi, Sam.
Hi, Sam. I too am an extrovert.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Beautiful.
Alright, I say I'm an introvert, but like at the same time I'm not. It's like if I go to a party, I like to have fun. Not a bad party, of course. Like as soon as I get to the party, I'm just like on 10, so I like to socialize. Yeah.
I believe I'm both because I'm very outgoing. I like to talk to people, but I'm also a good listener. So if you ever have like a problem, you tell me. Like I'll listen, but that's about it.
I agree with Brianna. I call myself an extrovert and introvert because I really love talking, but like I like being alone, but I also like listening and I like socializing. And I'm like an INFP. I don't know if you know what that means, but Myers-Briggs.
I agree with you. Yeah, I really love talking. But only with certain people. Like Kayliana, love talking, but but it depends on the situation, depends on the person. I just, yeah, I love reading. I love like watching TV, but I also love like talking to people. But I get really shy really easily too.
Third. I'm not gonna answer this question. I'm gonna go 5 because I want to talk about that one.
Okay.
So the way I answered this one was I don't really subscribe to just one. It depends on like the thing. If it's a minor issue, it's a minor like wrong that they do to me, then it's like forgive and forget. But if it's something major, like the example I gave, which is a bit extreme, is I don't know, kill my family. Then yeah, I'll subscribe to the eye for an eye philosophy. So.
I'm more like a tend to forgive and forget because like for me it takes like too much energy to like hold a grudge and like I'd rather just be happy and like not have any bad energy with anybody.
I tend to be the emotional rock in my friend group. So when something is going wrong, they'll come to me. But last year it became too much, and then I kind of now hate my best friend's ex-boyfriend. It's not really eye for an eye situation, but it's like I don't want to talk to you, I don't want to associate with you, I don't like you, please don't stand next to me. And I think it'll be like that for the rest of high school, and then eventually I'll forget it. Vance?
So like, personally for me, it's I forgive and forget. But if it's like Karan, he's one of my best friends, and if he feels like if something happens to him and he tells me about it, I'm gonna hold a grudge against that person, no matter who it is. Even if it's me, I'm gonna be like, oh, I need to fix that. Because like, yeah, like I think friends necessarily are better for people who like me. Like I don't think necessarily everybody should just be alone and be by themselves because then they can get depressed. And if you have good people around you, then you know you can fix that. So shout out to Karan.
I have to completely agree with Emily. It just takes too much time and effort to hold a grudge against someone. And plus it just makes you down and cranky and crabby. I don't like to be down, cranky, and crabby. I like to be hyper, smiling, and happy. Anna?
So with number 5, I really struggle with the part that was in parentheses, where it says not to resort to the I forgive, but I never forget. I think forgiveness is a big part of healing, in the sense of forgiveness can often be for yourself, even if the other person doesn't accept that forgiveness. And when it comes to the forgetting part, it's not a matter of holding a grudge on it, like Maza said. Like, you don't want to do that. You don't want to hold that grudge. It does have negative effects. But you should be learning from the experience rather than that. So, I mean, the memory you're not going to forget. And so that's where the learning comes in. And for me, forgive and forget is totally where I go for it. Like, what I go for. An eye for an eye, I don't ever think is an option. But I'm also teaching my the younger ones to be the bigger person because they often go an eye for an eye. And so I definitely struggle with this one, just mainly with the part of dependency because that's where the learning comes from. So you learn not to go through those situations again.
I agree with the eye for an eye because sometimes revenge is the best way for like something to not happen. Okay,
Sure.
Alright, so you don't remember how it went last time when I talked, so should make it short and sweet. It's just forget, because I have so many better things to do than worry about something that happened. Also, I have a really bad memory. You right there next to Angel, because I don't know your name.
I just want to say that I completely agree with Hannah. One thing, that's it. Made a really good point.
Well, I used to be an eye for an eye kind of person, but now, since I've gotten a lot older and a little more mature, I kind of do more of forgive and forget. I can't remember. I don't
It's
remember.
Crystal.
Crystal, sorry.
I'm more of a forgive and forget person because, like John, I also have a bad memory, and usually when I get in a fight with someone, it's more like a not an actual serious fight, so I just tend to forget when we forgive each other. Keep this you
I would say I'm an eye for an eye kind of person. You know, revenge is, if it's something big and then you get revenge for it, it just kind of feels, you feel better. I don't know, it sounds messed up, but it just feels good.
So this is kind of a story, I guess. And my family has a big history of alcoholics, so my dad's an alcoholic. And in 8th grade, he hung himself in my garage. I had to cut him down. So like, I guess it's, the hard part about forgiving and forgetting isn't necessarily forgiving, but forgetting. Because forgetting things you've seen is really hard.
Sam, why don't you give it to us?
I definitely agree with Sam. Forgiving and forgetting. And sometimes you don't really know if you forgave, and the way to find that out is especially if you see that person every day, how does it make you feel? Do you immediately jump back into that moment and you feel that same feeling? It's not a long story either as Sam's, but you know, for a long portion of my life, you know, this particular person in my life was seen as, you know, the greatest person to ever meet at school, and just so, you know, nice and everything, but I saw them as the worst person on earth, because when I needed them the most and they knew that I was like, it was almost the end for me, they walked out on me, like, regardless. And the way, okay, so basically, like, I think that in the end, no one really wants to carry around that type of weight, you know, on their shoulders. And I remember I asked my friend about 2 days ago, I asked her, you know, God forbid, but I said, you know, say you got the flu and you died today. Like, you didn't get to, you know, it wasn't one of those questions like, are you gonna go see someone in Brazil, or are you gonna go places, do this and that, but just like your regular life, you died today, are you truly happy with it? And she said, you know, there's so many things I wanna fix. And I said, well, what's stopping you? So forgiving is a way to free yourself, because I'm glad I know it now, but I didn't know that this person was basically, they took control of my life. But yeah.
So this is kind of more of my kind of a personal story. So I never knew my biological dad, and he passed away back in 2016. And I had to, I like when I was little, I had so much anger and frustration with him. And then when I found out he passed away in 2016, I had to go to his memorial in Montana. And I had my own little moment. Everyone else was out I don't know what they were doing, honestly, but I had my own little moment because he was cremated, so I had my little moment with him. And I kind of forgave him in that moment, kind of.
I would like to switch gears.
Way too sad.
So, number 12 asked the question. You've got an important decision to make. Who do you consult first, friends or family? I said that I don't really have any friends. All I have is family. Like, if I have acquaintances and then I have family. If I'm friends with you, then I care about you. I want you to care about me. And I want to ask for your opinion on something because I know if you're friends with me, then you want the best for me. And since I'm friends with you, I always want the best for you. So, like, I can just when I ask somebody an important decision, I asked my family. So.
I'm with you too. Like, my friends are really close to me. I consider them family too. So the first person I would consult with an important decision would probably be my dad. Even though like he lives in Texas and we just email each other, like that's how we communicate. Just cause like phone calling is like kind of difficult since we're like, I think it's like 2 hour difference. But I like consult him first and then I consult maybe my mom, but then like ultimately it's like my mentors that are like older than me and they speak in my life because they're very wise and so yeah.
When I need someone to talk to or someone to consult about a decision, I go straight to my mother, always. She's very compassionate and she's very understanding. In a way, she reminds me a lot about myself. And I go to her, like I said, because she's very understanding. I never been able to really talk to my dad. My mom's the more sensitive one, and my dad's more like a rougher type of man. I don't know how to explain. They're both from Mexico, so I guess it's kind of how it is. But yeah, my mom. What I like about talking to my mom is that she doesn't. When we talk, it's not about her solving or her helping me. Well, she helps me solve it. I don't know how to explain it. She helps me solve it, but she doesn't. We don't come up with a plan. I don't know how to explain it. She doesn't tell me how to do it, but she gives me the steps to do it. If that makes any sense. She doesn't want to tell me what to do. She wants to give me enough information so that I can make my own decision. So yeah.
I don't really, when I have an important decision to make, I don't really consult anyone simply because I'm afraid that I'd have to play peacekeeper between my friends and my parents because their opinions differ so much. So I just kind of, depending on what the said decision is, I kind of look at both point of views from what I know and then make my decision based off of that. Sophie?
I think it also depends on people's situations, like who they talk to, because some people aren't really close with their parents or their family, so they automatically go to their friends. So I think it also depends. Like I talked to my best friend I've known her since I was like 8. She lives in New York, and so like I always talk to her about everything that happens. It's kind of hard because she lives so far away, but it's still like a good thing to talk to your friends about, like things are happening, even if you're not trying to find like a resolution for it.
I agree.
Like Sophie said, some people aren't really close with their parents, and I'm the type that's not really close with my parents. I never really had that open communication. So there's 2 people I usually go to, and that's Jasmine or my friend Lawrence, who've been friends since like elementary school, and they're the only ones who knows every single thing about me, on my downfalls and everything, and their opinions matter to me the most.
For me, when it comes to like friends and family, like when I look at the class situation, I see you guys as friends or like friendly acquaintances. And then when I see like people like Ricky, like he's my brother in Christ, and so he's family. And so like my church friends, they're my family. And I usually go to my accountability partners first, which are family or they are friends. And when I have big decisions to make, my go-to is to pray and be prayed for. And so I go to the people that, for me, my family isn't like that. My family doesn't have, my dad doesn't have the same religious beliefs, and my mom doesn't go to church. And so those people aren't the people I would tend to go to because they don't have the same understanding and can't give me the same godly advice that I'm seeking. And so I go to the people that have the best intentions for me and that can give me advice that is from a good perspective, from a loving aspect, and who can have that constructive criticism, or who can tell me that's not part of God's plan, that's not a good choice, that doesn't reflect God. And so for me, I definitely go to friends first or family first, just not my family that is blood. I have my chosen family that I go to first.
So as a topic change, have you ever been betrayed by a friend? The long answer is no.
Number 7.
Anyone wants to answer this question?
Ron, have you ever been betrayed by a friend?
I would like to switch the question.
Christine, I'm sorry.
Back to Dutch as well.
Oh, because I had some acquaintances that would like to speak on that topic.
So I'm
Good.
one of those lucky individuals that I guess that is really close with my parents, and we have very open communication. I can pretty much talk to my parents about anything, and what most teenagers would not be able to, or feel comfortable talking to their parents about. So if I had a important question, I'd go to one of my parents, and also I have a very large family. And I'm also very close with a lot of my older cousins, and I have 16 of them. So I tend to go to my older cousin Shelby because she only lives down the street from me, so I live at her house pretty much. So I guess I'm just one of the lucky people that's really close with their entire family.
I like that. I'm pretty close with my parents too. I think depending on the situation, I would definitely feel more comfortable talking to my friends than my family. Some things just, you can tell going into it, talking to your parents, it's just not going to come out the way you want it to, and it's just not going to work out. So then I would go to my friends. But in many situations, I would definitely go to my parents. More my dad than my mom, because my dad's definitely a lot more relaxed with things coming from me, and he understands my mind better, if that makes any sense. He understands what I'm going through a little bit better, even though I love my mom, but I feel every time I talk to her, just school comes up, and then it's I have to miss an assignment or something. It's always just getting mad at the end. It's how did this come up from what I started out with? And my dad's just a lot more laid back with things when I talk to him, so it's kind of cool to have someone like that. Yeah, just Aaron Singh.
I agree with Scott. I'm pretty close to my parents too. I talk to, instead of just talking to him like he talks to his dad, I talk to both of them. They do live in Spokane. I've talked to them every night. And for some situations, I do talk to my friends too. So, yeah.
I agree with Scott too. I think it really depends on the situation because, with my mom, I'm not close with my dad. I really only talk with my mom if it's about something that I know that she would have past experience in. Because if it's about school or something, or about a boy, or I don't know, about like God or something. Like she's just not in tune with like my religious beliefs, so I would talk like to like a friend or like my mentors or something. So it depends on the situation and like how I really feel about the situation and who can help me with it.
I don't know about y'all, but I consider everyone family. All y'all are family. If I got something to go to, I'm gonna go to all y'all and my family. So all y'all are family. Oh, what about number 9? I personally do think family sticks around forever. Yeah. Period. So, okay, they do stick around forever. My aunt and my grandma, they had a falling out when my aunt was like 18. She like ran away and like started like doing drugs and stuff. And so my aunt doesn't want to talk to my grandma. And my grandma wants to talk to my aunt. So like they kind of hate each other, but they're still like stuck with each other. So technically they are forever, even if you don't want them to be. So you kind of gotta deal with it. Gotta grow up at some point.
I agree with you, because things like that happen, but they're still gonna stick around no matter what. Anyone? Is there anyone worries?
I agree with Sophie and Aaron. I got some family that did that too. Right? Killed my great grandparents.
Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think there's some situations where it's tough to say family is forever, but I'm blessed with my family, and even though, you know, I've had past times where there's been big arguments and stuff that doesn't need to be said, you know, we overcome that, and that's why I believe family is forever. Sam?
Family is forever is like, it depends on who you are and who your family is. My family personally wasn't forever. 2 weeks ago, my mom got a divorce with my dad. So like, it really depends.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, because some of my family don't agree with my living situations, because I live with my aunt and she's gay, and my family doesn't agree with that, so that's kind of the situation.
I definitely agree with you. I'm a Christian man, family, just all Christians, you know, strong believers in God and everything. And my older brother, you know, he went to Gonzaga, and they think that because when he was separated from everyone, like, he kind of came out and, you know, he's gay now. And a lot of people, I mean, it's like, when that happened, it's like a split in the family. Some people are like, you know, they kind of understand, support him, and then some just cut all communications from him. So I guess in the end, it doesn't matter, you know, say everybody in my family. I mean, like, even in the household, we all just like separate from each other. I go to, I don't know, Zimbabwe or something, and you know, someone goes to Canada, like, we just scattered across the earth, and we don't talk to each other until all of us die. Biologically, you're still, I mean, that's your blood, you're still family.
I'm sorry. I want to articulate this right because I want to say something meaningful and not pander. No, believe me, it's pander. Family is forever, always for me. But with this, you have to ask yourself, if family, or anyone who you consider to be family before, were to ever leave and make forever significantly shorter, were they family in the first place?
I really like what you said, and I believe it like pertains to like love too, because if like love is patient, love is kind, and like it's like trustworthy, and but it breaks, like was it really love in the first place? So I will also want to switch the question to the front side of the paper. It says, family is the most important thing in life, and I said like agree like the second one, because like I believe family is the second most important thing. Like to me, like my personal beliefs, like I put God like above them, not because like I don't love my family, like I love them both like equally, but I believe that like God is gonna love me no matter what, and whatever happens, like He'll always be there, and like I feel like that is the same with my family, but it's just like incomparable in a sense. Like He's gonna be like He's gonna have times 10 the love that they have, and so yeah.
I can't talk. I'm about to talk next question.
Hey, we're gonna run this for about 5 more minutes. So here's the deal.
Yes, I talk again.
Me. If you have not gotten in, I'm gonna reduce it to 2 talking turns. A lot of you shared some really personal stories, and they took up more time than maybe a short comment would, but I think it was really valuable. Alright, so I'm gonna reduce your talking time goal today to 2. So if you have not hit at least 2 talking turns today, I want you to make sure that you're contributing as much as possible in this next session, right? If you finish speaking and you look around and you see a bunch of hands up, try to call on students who you know we haven't heard as much from, okay? I know we get used to hearing voices from some of our students that are really comfortable sharing, but try to call on the ones who maybe have not had as many opportunities today.
Does that mean something?
Yes, we'll start with 1 here. Okay, I will let Jacob kick us off. Okay.
Alright, I've known Emily since kindergarten. Emily is family. All y'all are family, of course. Emily is family.
All caps.
Agreed.
Family to me is not the most important thing. I know that. Let me explain here. My family is very odd. Just to put it nicely, we have a lot of mental problems running through and a lot of alcoholism. So to me, I have to put myself up first, or else I'm just gonna get weighed down and bogged down with all of their problems. Like I've stated before, I tend to be an emotional rock. So if someone has a problem, they'll come to me because I'll just take that off of their shoulders and then dump it onto mine. Sam.
I'd like to change the question to number 16. The best question on the planet. What would you do if you felt a guy or girl leading you on?
Wait, no. I have different question.
Gavin?
Go ham.
Go ham.
No, seriously. You might just get something out of it.
Wow.
Alright, to clarify, I think we're on question 16.
Yeah,
I thought that one.
Alright,
I was next.
I don't know what it means to lead on.
Okay, I was next. I'm not quite sure what that means when people are leading you on, but I'm fairly certain that I'm supposed to be upset. Can somebody explain to me what that means?
I got you.
Okay.
So leading someone on is, just you have these like feelings for this girl, okay?
Yeah, we're gonna.
Oh, a guy. I'm sorry. And they're just like messing with your emotions, like leading you on, like to think that they like you back.
Yeah.
But at the end, they just want like attention sometimes,
Yeah.
Or that I shouldn't say that for everyone, but that's what happens a lot of times. And like if they do that, you just gotta just end it. That's the only healthy way. Like you're gonna drive yourself crazy if like you just keep hoping for this one girl, you know, and if they're not like treating you the way that you treat them, when it's not mutual, you just gotta like, you know what I mean? This, you know, I've been led on by this one girl. Whoa, no, okay, but so yeah, you just you know, you want to put yourself first and have good mental health. So.
Good morning, Rogers High School. Just a heads up for the West Central District playoff.